Steffi's entire I hate Sheila storyline may have been nothing more than a carefully constructed trap. For months, B&B fans were led to believe that Steffi's hatred for Sheila was all about protecting her family and standing by Finn. But now, the truth may be far more complicated. Was Steffi secretly using her hatred of Sheila as a cover for something much bigger? Could her real intention have been to get closer to Carter all along? If that's true, then Steffi didn't just betray Finn. She may have been playing B&B fans for fools this entire time. Every argument, every emotional moment, and every decision involving Sheila could have been part of a much bigger plan. And if Steffi truly wanted Carter, then Finn may have been the one person who never saw the betrayal coming. The question is, was Steffi's hatred for Sheila ever really about Sheila, or was it all a setup to get what she wanted?
Hey everyone! Welcome back to Soaps HQ. Finn is back in Los Angeles, desperate to repair his marriage. He wants Steffi to listen. He wants her to believe that Sheila is no longer the threat she once was. He wants another chance. But Steffi? May already be emotionally somewhere else. And that brings us to Carter Walton. Because the more Carter leans on Steffi, and the more Steffi becomes his emotional refuge, the more dangerous this situation becomes. And if Daphne comes back from Paris at exactly the wrong moment, oh, this could explode. So let's get right to it. I'm Sophia, and this is Soaps HQ, where we break down the latest Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, predictions, relationship drama, and all those moments that make us yell at our television. If you love B&B and you don't want to miss the next twist, make sure you subscribe to Soaps HQ, turn on notifications, and stay with me because today's story has several layers. And before we go any further, remember something important. Some of what we're discussing comes from current spoilers and reports, while other parts are speculation and my own predictions about where the writers could take this. So, we're going to separate what appears to be coming from what I think could happen. Now let's get into it. Let's start with Steffi and Finn. Because this marriage is in serious trouble. Steffi and Finn went to Monaco, and instead of getting the romantic escape that fans might have expected, everything turned into another confrontation over Sheila, and honestly, I understand Steffi's anger. I really do. Sheila Carter has caused enormous damage in Steffi's life. This isn't some random woman Steffi doesn't like. This is Sheila. This is the woman Steffi has repeatedly viewed as a danger to her family. So when Finn keeps trying to believe that his mother has changed, Steffi doesn't just hear, "My mother is different." She hears, "Trust the woman you believe destroyed your family's peace." That's a huge difference. And that's why the Monaco confrontation becomes so important. Steffi throws her wedding ring at Finn. Think about what that means emotionally. That ring isn't just jewelry. It's a symbol. It's the marriage. It's the promises. It's the family. It's everything Steffi believes Finn is risking because he can't completely separate himself from Sheila. And Finn is devastated. But here's where things get really interesting. Because while Finn is desperately trying to save his marriage, Carter is getting closer to Steffi. And that is the last thing Finn needs. Finn isn't giving up. And I'm actually glad the writers are letting Finn fight for his marriage, instead of immediately moving him into another romance. He knows he messed up. He knows Steffi's trust has been shattered, and he wants to make amends. We're going to see Finn trying to convince Steffi that Sheila doesn't have to destroy their family. But here's the problem. Finn keeps looking at this situation from the perspective of a son. Steffi looks at it from the perspective of a mother and wife. That's where they keep missing each other. Finn thinks, "My mother has changed." Steffi thinks, "How many times am I supposed to take that chance?" And honestly, I think Steffi has a point. Finn can forgive Sheila if he wants. That's his choice.
Ridge is giving one final pitch.
I'm going over to Brooke's house.
Really? What's going on?
Well, if everything today, Brooke's destiny is with me.
And this is a big however. Steffi is now walking into dangerous territory herself. Because if she expects Finn to respect the boundaries of their marriage, she has to respect those boundaries too. And that's where Carter enters the picture. Now let's talk about Carter. because this is where B&B could really turn the entire storyline upside down. Carter has already been dealing with major emotional problems surrounding Daphne, and Steffy has become someone he can talk to. Someone who understands him, someone who listens, and that's exactly how these soap opera affairs usually begin. Not with, "Hey, let's destroy our relationships." No. It starts with, "I'm just talking to someone. I'm just helping a friend. I'm just there for her." And then suddenly, they're spending more time together. Then they're...
Whatever this is about, I want you to get it off your chest right now. Now, you said this was a mistake.
Yes, Ridge. Oh,
We have a problem. That's why I'm watching Steffy and Carter very closely. Because the emotional connection may actually be more dangerous than the physical one. Now, B&B fans are going to have strong opinions about this. And I already know the argument that's coming. Remember Hope? Remember Steffy's reaction when Hope kissed Finn? Steffy was absolutely furious. She condemned Hope. She made it very clear that Finn was her husband and that Hope had crossed a line. And honestly, I understood Steffy's anger back then. But if Steffy now crosses that same line with Carter? Oh, girl, we're going to have a conversation. Because you cannot spend years telling other people that certain behavior is unacceptable and then expect fans not to notice when you do something similar. That's why I think this storyline could be extremely interesting. Not because I want Steffy to cheat. I actually don't. I think Steffy and Finn have been through too much for the writers to casually destroy them. But if the writers are going down that road, then I want them to address the hypocrisy directly. Don't pretend it didn't happen. Don't rewrite history. Let Steffy confront her own behavior. Let her realize that anger and betrayal can make people do things they never thought they would do. That would actually give the storyline some emotional depth. And then we have Daphne. 'Tis is where things could get really ugly. Carter isn't single, he's involved with Daphne, and Daphne has already been dealing with a painful situation surrounding their relationship and their hopes for a family. So imagine Daphne coming back and discovering that the man she's supposed to trust has become emotionally involved with Steffy. That would be devastating. And here's my prediction. Daphne's return could be perfectly timed. I wouldn't be surprised if the writers intentionally keep her away long enough for Carter and Steffy to get dangerously close. Then, Daphne comes home. And suddenly, Carter has nowhere to hide. That's soap opera timing at its finest. Because if Daphne walked in on Carter and Steffy at the wrong moment, we could have an explosion involving the Forresters, the Spencers, and everyone connected to them. And let's be honest, B&B loves a good romantic disaster. Now let's go back to Monaco because I don't think the location is accidental. We already know the show invested heavily in this international storyline. Producer and head writer Bradley Bell previously confirmed that the Monaco story involved Steffy, Finn, Sheila, Ridge, and Brooke, and teased that something happening there would change lives. Reports also noted filming at a beach and a church. That is important, because Monaco isn't just a vacation backdrop. It has history for Steffy and Finn, and now the same location is being used while their marriage is under enormous pressure. That's classic B&B symbolism. The place where their love has been celebrated is now becoming the place where their relationship begins to fracture. And I love that kind of soap storytelling. It gives the location meaning. Now let's talk about Sheila. Because no matter how many times people try to move on from Sheila, she somehow finds her way back into the center of the story. And this time, she may actually be changing. That's what makes it complicated. Some current spoiler chatter suggests Sheila could finally gain some acceptance from Steffy after the Monaco ordeal. But here's the thing, can Steffy really forgive Sheila? That's the million-dollar question. Because forgiving someone doesn't mean trusting them. And that's exactly what Finn needs to understand. Finn may be able to say, she's changed. Steffy may eventually say, okay, maybe. But that doesn't mean, bring her into our home. It doesn't mean, let her around the kids whenever she wants. And it certainly doesn't mean, forget everything that happened. Steffy isn't going to erase years of trauma overnight. And honestly, she shouldn't. Here's my prediction. I think Sheila's storyline could eventually become less about destroying Steffi's life and more about proving that she can actually be a mother. We've already seen the groundwork for Finn having complicated feelings about her. Finn has been increasingly willing to acknowledge that Sheila has changed, while also recognizing why Steffi cannot simply forget her past. That is a fascinating conflict. Because Finn is caught between two women, his wife and his mother, and Sheila knows exactly how important Finn is to her. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sheila makes one major sacrifice, something that proves she genuinely cares about Finn, even if she doesn't get what she wants. And that could finally make Steffi stop and think. Not forgive, not immediately, but think. So let's put the story together chronologically. The emotional damage from Monaco continues. Steffi is furious. Finn realizes that the marriage may be hanging by a thread. Sheila is left facing the consequences of her actions. And I expect Finn to realize that apologizing once isn't going to fix this. He's going to have to prove himself, not for one day, not for one conversation, for weeks, possibly months. Because Steffi's trust isn't going to magically return. This is where Finn's desperation really becomes visible. He's back in Los Angeles. He's trying to make amends. He's trying to explain himself. And I expect him to make one very important mistake. He's going to talk too much about Sheila. Because Finn genuinely believes explaining Sheila will help Steffi understand him. But Steffi doesn't need another explanation. She needs reassurance. She needs boundaries. She needs Finn to show her that their marriage comes first. That's the difference. And if Finn doesn't understand that, he's going to lose her. Now here's where I think the story gets dangerous. Steffi is emotionally exhausted. Carter is also vulnerable. They understand each other's pain, and that's a recipe for trouble. Maybe they start with a conversation. Maybe Steffi confides in Carter. Maybe Carter tells her what she wants to hear. Maybe he tells her she deserves better. And that's when the line begins to disappear. I wouldn't be surprised if we get one of those classic B&B scenes where the dialogue is completely innocent, but the looks are not. You know exactly what I mean. Finn is not stupid. He knows Carter. He knows Steffi. And eventually, he's going to notice something. Maybe Carter is suddenly around Steffi too often. Maybe Steffi starts defending Carter. Maybe Finn hears something he wasn't supposed to hear. And I expect Finn to become jealous. But here's the interesting part. Finn won't have the moral high ground. That's what makes this story delicious. Because he can be angry. But Steffi can turn around and say, "Where were you when I needed you?" And Finn's argument suddenly becomes much weak. Now this is the big speculative bomb. Could Daphne return at exactly the wrong time? I wouldn't be surprised. Because soaps love timing. If Carter and Steffi are getting closer, Daphne returning would create instant tension. And if Daphne discovers even a hint of what's happening, she won't simply be heartbroken. She'll have questions. Lots of questions. And Carter better have answers. Let's zoom out. I don't think this is necessarily the end of Steffi and Finn. Actually, I think the opposite. This could be the beginning of their biggest test yet. Finn has to decide whether he can protect his marriage while maintaining some relationship with Sheila. Steffi has to decide whether she can ever trust Finn around Sheila again. And both of them have to decide whether love is enough. Because love isn't always enough. Trust matters, boundaries matter, communication matters, and B&B is giving these two a huge opportunity to prove whether their relationship can survive another crisis. And this is where I'm going to defend Finn for a moment. Yes, Finn messed up. Yes, he underestimated how deeply Sheila's presence would affect Steffi. Yes, he should have been more careful. But Steffi cannot use that mistake as permission to hurt him. If she truly wants to end the marriage, then end it. But don't keep Finn emotionally trapped while secretly moving toward Carter. That's not fair. And I think the writers need to make that distinction clear. Steffi can be angry, she can be hurt, she can walk away. But she cannot demand honesty from Finn while refusing to be honest herself. That's my biggest concern with this storyline. Carter is another character I have to call out. I like Carter, I really do. But buddy, what are you doing? You know Steffy is married. You know she's vulnerable. You know you're involved with Daphne. So if you're genuinely becoming attracted to Steffy, you need to step back. Don't tell yourself, I'm just helping her. Don't pretend nothing is happening. Because emotional cheating is still betrayal. And if Carter crosses that line, he better be ready for the consequences. Let's have some fun with the prediction. Imagine this. Steffy and Carter are alone. They've been talking. The emotional tension has been building. One of them finally crosses the line. They kiss. The camera cuts away. Fade to black. Then, the next morning, Carter hears the door. He turns around. Daphne, standing there. Silence. Carter freezes. Steffy looks terrified. And Daphne realizes everything. Now that would be a B&B cliffhanger. Don't forget Taylor. There has been chatter about Taylor confronting Steffy at the Cliff House, although that particular detail should be treated as unverified until it actually airs. But if Taylor does confront her, oh, I'm here for it, because Taylor is Steffy's mother, and mothers know when something is wrong. Taylor could look at Steffy and immediately realize, this isn't just about Finn anymore. And if Taylor asks, is there someone else? Steffy may not even need to answer. Her face could say everything. This may actually be the most interesting part of the entire storyline. Steffy has always been one of B&B's strongest voices when it comes to loyalty. She has called out Hope. She's called out other women. She's demanded respect for her marriage. And now she's being forced to look at herself. That's uncomfortable. But it's good drama. Because strong characters shouldn't always be right. Sometimes they need to fail. Sometimes they need to make terrible choices. And sometimes they need to look in the mirror. If B&B allows Steffy to make a mistake and then genuinely own it, I think that could make her more interesting, not less. Here's my prediction. I think Finn will fight for Steffy. I think Steffy will remain furious. I think Carter and Steffy's emotional connection will grow. I think Daphne will eventually become suspicious. And I think Sheila will be given one final opportunity to prove whether she's truly changed. But here's my biggest prediction. I don't think Steffy and Finn are finished. Not yet. This is too big of a story. There's too much history. There's too much emotional investment. Instead, I think the writers are setting up a separation, a potential betrayal, and eventually a major confrontation. And when that confrontation happens, everyone is going to have to tell the truth. Finn about Sheila, Steffy about Carter, Carter about Daphne, and Sheila about what she really wants from her son. So here's where I stand. Prediction number 1. Finn doesn't give up on Steffy. Prediction number 2. Steffy continues leaning on Carter emotionally. Prediction number 3. Carter crosses a boundary he promised himself he wouldn't cross. Prediction number 4. Daphne's return creates a major confrontation. Prediction number 5. Taylor notices something is wrong with Steffy. Prediction number 6. Sheila gets another chance to prove herself. Prediction number 7. Steffy eventually has to confront her own hypocrisy regarding Hope and Finn. And finally, prediction number 8. Steffy and Finn's marriage survives. But it will never be exactly the same. Honestly, that last one could be the most important. Because even if they reunite, something has changed. Finn will know that Steffy can walk away. Steffy will know that Finn's relationship with Sheila can never simply disappear. And both of them will understand that love isn't enough unless they protect it. Okay, B&B fans, I need to know what you think. Are you Team Steffy? Are you Team Finn? Do you think Steffy has every right to walk away from Finn because of Sheila? Or do you think Steffy is going too far by getting emotionally close to Carter? And let's talk about Carter. Do you think he would really betray Daphne for Steffy? Or is this simply a temporary emotional connection that's going to disappear once Steffy and Finn reconcile? And most importantly, what happens when Daphne comes back? Because I have a feeling that is where the real fireworks begin. If you enjoyed this spoiler breakdown, make sure you subscribe to Soaps HQ, hit that notification bell, and leave your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing your theories. because sometimes you fans catch things that I completely miss. And remember, we're going to keep watching every look, every secret conversation, every suspicious pause, and every dramatic door opening, because this is The Bold and the Beautiful. And if you think Monaco was the end of the drama, oh, honey, it's only the beginning. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I'm Sophia from Soaps HQ. You can follow us here on YouTube and across our social platforms for the latest B&B spoilers, predictions, recaps, and soap drama. But Steffy doesn't have to accept Sheila into her home simply because Finn has decided to see the good in her. That's where I am firmly on Steffy's side. They're sharing secrets. However, then they're talking about their relationships. Then there's a lingering look, then a touch, then silence. And suddenly, boom! We have a problem. That's why I'm watching Steffy and Carter very closely.